today we are starting Unit 2 on ecosystems. And so let's take a quick look at the lessons that we're going to be doing in this unit. Okay, so this unit has 9 lessons with a quiz and a unit project. The first lesson we're going to do today is what is happening in forest ecosystems. So let's take a look at this first lesson. The standard we're going to be covering is MS-LS2-1. That's from the Next Generation Science Standards. But what you need to know is today's learning objective. So today you're going to make observations of an ecosystem, and you're going to use those observations to identify abiotic and biotic factors. If you don't know some of these terms, that's okay. We're going to learn them today. So I'm going to have you start by watching a video of a forest ecosystem and answering a few reflection questions. We'll read a little bit about these new terms, and then you're going to do a bit of explaining. So explaining an ecosystem you've seen before using the new terms that you've learned. And our next lesson, we're going to learn a little more about abiotic and biotic factors and how abiotic factors affect biotic factors in an ecosystem. So let's just start by watching a video showing a forest. Okay. And as you watch the video, I want you to write down the things that you're noticing and wondering. So reflect on these questions. What's something interesting you noticed in the video? How does the places in the video compare to a place that you live nearby? Right? How are the animals, plants, and other things similar and different? And what is this video making you think about? You can write down any new thoughts, feelings, or questions you have. You can really watch any video that shows a forest, right? But I'm going to recommend this clip from Louis Schwartzberg's moving art film, and I'll make sure that you can click on that right here. So you're going to pause this video, go watch the video of the forest, and then come back and answer the reflection questions. So go ahead and pause this video now. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video that you watched. And I want you to think to yourself, what was something interesting that you noticed? Were there any cool sounds or sights that you saw? How did the places in the video compare to things that you've already seen before, a place that you live near? Do you have different plants where you live? Are they similar? How about the animals? What did the video make you think about? Did you have any thoughts or feelings or questions? So when I watched this video, something interesting that I noticed was there was a lot of moss all over the place. Lots of mosses and ferns, more than I usually see. Which made me wonder if maybe they have, a different amount of rain or a different type of soil or something that lets the moss grow that much. Now, I live in Michigan, so some of the things were very similar. Like there were a lot of trees in the video, and I have a lot of trees near where I live. However, it did look a lot wetter. Like it looked like there was a lot more moss and ferns and vines and stuff in the video compared to where I live. And when I was watching the video, I felt very calm. I thought looking at a forest is very peaceful to me. So that's something that I felt as I was watching the film. So what you were looking at was a forest ecosystem. Okay, and we're going to spend the next few videos looking at ecosystems. So the official definition of an ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. But in simpler terms, it just means all of the living and non-living things that interact in a natural place. So the plants and animals and the water and the air and the sunlight all interacting in one place. So in science class, we're going to call the non-living things in an ecosystem abiotic factors, and the living things in an ecosystem will be called biotic factors. So the organisms are all biotic factors. So where do these words come from? Let's take a look. So bio, the root word bio means life. Okay. Tick, when it's at the end of a word, like it means that it has that characteristic. It has that trait. And then if a is in front of the word, it often means with or without or not. So you've probably seen this bio, right, in front of words like biology, biome, biography. Well, all of those words have to do with life. Like biology is the study of life. A biome is, an area where things are living. And a biography is a story about somebody's life. Okay, so bio just means life. All right, so if we put bio and tick together, we got having the characteristic of life. Okay, so it's a living thing if it's biotic. Now, if we put the A in front, remember that A means without or not. Abiotic, we're looking at without the characteristic of life. Okay, so this is a little trick you can do with most science terms that you learn. One way to help you remember them is to break them into their parts and learn what each of the parts means. So let's check in on our understanding. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can answer these questions 1 through 4. Pause the video right now, and when you're done, unpause and we'll discuss. All right, number 1 says, which of the following best defines ecosystem? Okay, so if you weren't sure about your answer, I would go back in the video and look at this definition here. All of the living and non-living things interacting in a natural place. Pretty sure that's one of the answer choices. For number 2, you are supposed to identify and describe an ecosystem that you've seen before. Now, your answer is probably going to be different from my answer because we might have seen different ecosystems. So there's 2 parts to this question. Identify, that means you're just naming it. Like I've seen a beach before, I've seen a desert before, I've seen a forest before, or a lake. Whatever you've seen, you name it first, and then you have to describe it. And what I mean by describe is you have to add descriptions. Like, was it full of trees, or did it not have very many plants at all? Was it a big lake or a small pond? Use some description words. Number 3, what were the biotic factors in that ecosystem? Remember, biotic means living. So you should have listed a few, maybe some animals, plants, and fungi that you saw in that ecosystem. And then for number 4, it asks what were some abiotic factors in that ecosystem. So you should have listed some non-living things that are in that ecosystem. So for example, if you were looking at a desert, maybe some non-living things would be like the sand, or the high temperatures, or lots of sunlight, only a little bit of water. And then the last thing I want to talk about today, before we wrap up the lesson, here's a great activity to help you learn more about biotic and abiotic factors. Go for a walk outside, somewhere you can find plants and animals living in an ecosystem. If you live in a city where there's not a lot of natural places, you can go to a park. If you have nature in your backyard, that works too. If you're lucky enough to live somewhere where you can go for hikes, that would be a great option. You can walk anywhere where there's a natural ecosystem. Make sure you dress appropriately and take something with you to take notes or photos. Record the biotic and abiotic things you notice. Make lots of observations. All right, so today you should have learned some things we can find in a forest ecosystem. You should have been able to define ecosystems, abiotic factors, and biotic factors and give examples. And you should now know the roots A, bio, and tick. Okay, so I'm going to link a quiz right here so that you can check your knowledge if you want to test yourself. And then if you want to learn more, see if you can figure out the root words of ecosystem. What do eco and system mean? And what does it mean when you put those two together? Remember, science is all about asking questions, making mistakes, and learning from them. Until next time, let your curiosity lead you.